Recently on aboard the Opal Star, we've been on a bit of an adventure that started as trying to find Anima's family and then turned into stopping a major crime from happening after Stavios inadvertently got involved in the major crime.
I keep it fun.
As you do. And that worked out pretty well until as you were escorting the Goliath, which carried the Basilisk in it, to a Nova Station outpost, Stavios got kidnapped off of the Opal Star by a bunch of people sent by their dad, and they were plugged into a simulation that was a bad time with capital B and the capital T. It was just not a good time at all. They're in therapy now, or they will be soon. Tully's not going to make you drag your feet not going to let you drag your feet much longer on choosing a therapist who's not an assassin.
Vi does not think of herself as a therapist, but she does think that murder can help.
Honestly, there's never been any research done.
Her
response is, we can ruin him later, but you really do need therapy. There are people who can help you figure out how to tell your brain what's real and what's not. You will need a therapist. While you were at the Nova Station outpost, before you went to go rescue your Chaos Gremlin from the nightmare simulation their father stuck them in, as you do, you went to Nova Station, spoke with someone, found out that yes, Nova Station did try and hire Dottie, but the person who picked up Dottie and Anima didn't actually work for Nova Station. It was a false flag operation. You were able to remember quite a bit about the station, and with some outside help find where it is, and you have been taking an indirect route after picking up and rescuing Stavios from their nightmare simulation. We have also discovered that somebody on board the Opal Star owns a big fluffy cat that you've never seen before. And that cat has just been snuggling with Stavios every night, just like purrs like a little machine. It's very snuggly, very deep purrs.
And Nell knows about it, and she's fine.
Yeah, Nell knows.
Nell's like, it keeps Drax off the ship. It's fine.
Yeah, so is there anything anyone wants to talk about as you approach this station? Because you know you will be arriving soon. You're, like, in the middle of nowhere. But Spectra has a friend who's been keeping an eye on the area, just in case, because her friend knows you're coming.
So as far as we're aware, there's no people on the station. It's just whatever mechanical security systems or software security systems there are.
Yes, no signs of people coming in or out anytime recently, and my friend is keeping an eye.
Are there any signals? Either? Just...
None that we've noticed. The station, for all intents and purposes, seems very dead.
Alright. Should we... This is to everyone. Should we worry about sneaking in then? Or just... Because we don't have any plans for this, is there?
I think it really depends on if the station's actually dead, or is it, like, dead in a way that, like, we don't think there's anything in there, but there's lots of things hiding in there. I don't know. I just feel like we've been through a lot recently, and it doesn't seem like anything's ever easy.
Oh, I didn't say it was going to be easy. I just said no one's seen signs of activity around the outside of the station.
Well, I feel like if there's no activity on the outside, maybe we should sneak in. Because that doesn't... Yeah. Who knows what's camped out in there?
Yeah, someone or could be using it for a bunker or something. Do we have any plans of the station?
So I don't think you were able to find schematics of that specific station. You might have found schematics of similar stations. Basic station design where things would most likely be put versus where certain things where they would have to be located just for how stations function. There are a couple places where it's not quite as sure what people would have used different spaces for, but you also have Anima's memory. She does remember being around that space.
True. Anima, do you remember anything particular about it? I know we've probably asked you that a lot now, but...
I don't know, do I?
Give me the roll.
Was this an intelligence or a wisdom roll?
This one's intelligence, looking for specific details instead of just vague impressions.
It's 14.
I will say with that, between, just general schematics and what you're able to remember, without looking at it, you are able to piece together where, crew's quarters were probably in this area based off of the layout. I think this is where they had the mess hall. You don't remember everything, but you remember, the big important places that you would have spent the most time, which might be the best place to potentially get information. But everything else, you're not really sure until Spectra says, once we get to the station, I can probably, between Talia and I, we can get a better read on what is where. And start siphoning off data, whatever we can find.
That might be our best bet, honestly.
And perhaps being there will help jog some memories.
Maybe.
I imagine y'all are up in the helm having this conversation because you're getting close. Spectre's got the walls transparent, but she does also have the frames visible, so your brain registers that there are indeed windows between you and the void of space. Specifically for Vi and Anima. Stavios, that probably wouldn't bother you quite as much because you're probably more familiar with technology like this, just given where you grew up. But you probably also understand why Spectra is keeping, the window frames visible. But there's nothing but darkness and just, faintly twinkling stars in the distance. But as she is flying, you're starting to realize one of those isn't a star. You can't really see a lot of details, but it's probably the station.
Alright. Are we going on a shuttle, or are we going to try docking the Opal Star onto it?
I think it might be best to take the shuttles, perhaps divide and conquer. Look at different places. Like Satali and I can go and hack whatever information we need off of the main system, security protocols, stuff like that. And then perhaps if you all would like to check another area, and Ty and Lex can remain on the Opal Star to help provide backup if needed. Do an orbit of the station in case anyone comes sniffing around.
Sounds like a plan to me.
Yep.
Alright.
Sit in silence as the station starts to grow closer and closer, and more of it's visible, and from the outside, it does look pretty dang similar to the Nova Station outpost. Vi and Anima, you would notice. Tavias, you would not. You were not there. To you, it just looks like a very just generic space station. Because there's a lot of them that have very similar designs to them. Standard designs are easier to make. You have to have a lot of money if you want the more fancy specialized stuff. Also, most people don't need the fancy specialized stuff, so it looks pretty ordinary. But as you're approaching, Spectra starts to do a sort of circle around, and everybody roll me perception.
This is giving spooky vibes.
Good.
Perception.
That is... I just rolled a 21.
Oh.
A 21, a 22, and a 19. Nice.
We are so perceptive today.
The weird thing of Vi being the least perceptive one.
I know.
I think by what you notice as you're looking, because you start looking for where people would hide security things, and you can see where a couple security measures might once have been, but it looks like either this wasn't given as much security, or whatever security was on the outside part of the station was removed. And it doesn't look like that's something that happened recently. It looks like if this station was abandoned, they took their security. They took all their fancy external sensors, weapons, anything they might have had with them.
Okay, yeah, I'll point out to everyone. Hey, there's a couple spaces where some external security used to be, but it was either never installed or just removed a long time ago.
I think that bodes well.
Yeah, Stavios, you also noticed that. I'll say you also spot just different signs that show there are certain lights in certain areas that would be on to, like, indicate different things. So just scanning from the outside as Spectre's doing a slow circle of the ship, you see signs that from the outside, this place has been abandoned, hasn't been taken care of in a while. There's, like, damage on the outside just from debris and so forth. Outside technical bits that got broken off and just never fixed. Nothing serious damage that you spot. But you also see, just looking from where lights are on, the only thing that's working for sure is gravity. There might be some lights, but you'd be surprised if life support was working in parts of the station. There does seem to be kind of one area where it looks like the life support might still be working.
So yeah, I was kind of saying, well, whoever, if anyone is living in there, they won't be alive for very long. And then I start going through every, like, that kind of list of things that I noticed, and especially emphasizing the part where most of the station probably does not have life support except for this very specific section.
Yeah. And it's one of those, usually when energy is starting to dwindle and life support starts to go out and fail, the computer is, whatever's controlling that, has, like, a specific, like, if life support's going low, we focus on this area. So it makes sense that, like, it's just been, like, going down from one area to another. This is something that would take a lot of time, though, because typically stations are built to have a crap ton of redundancy, so the however many people, it's usually a lot, that are living there, don't all asphyxiate when something goes wrong. So there's time for rescue. It looks like this place has been abandoned for a while. And Anima, as you are looking around and Stavios points out the area that still has power remaining, you remember that was the labs. That was where Dottie and some of the others would be working. You didn't get to see a lot of what was in there because your security help wasn't needed inside. But you know that's part of that. Most of the labs appear to still have some level of life support. And as she continues to circle around, Spectra and Tally are also noting things similar to what you all have noticed. And you get to a section where it looks like part of the station exploded.
Is that anywhere near the labs?
No, it's a different part. It's the crew's quarters. And Anima, roll wisdom. Roll with advantage because you did really good on your perception.
Oh no.
Anima
is not wise today.
Anima's never wise.
Anima, as you stare at the debris field that was the crew's quarters, you just have one thought in your head, and that's, Dottie and I were supposed to be in the crew's quarters.
Oh shit.
You remember, just before that blank spot that still isn't filling in, you know that you and her were supposed to be in the crew's quarters, and there shouldn't have been anyone else there. But you don't remember why.
So we've got kind of a good news, bad news situation.
Okay.
Alright.
Good news is that with that hole blown in the side, almost certainly nobody's there.
At least
Bad
not in that
news?
area. Yeah.
That's where we were supposed to be.
Well,
Anyone want to roll insight or intelligence?
I'll roll insight, sure.
I would.
Go for it.
Yeah, insight.
Ooh.
Come on, be nice, please.
That's a nat
Yes!
1. Nat 1 on insight.
I got a 25.
Yeah, Stavios, your no thought, head empty, wish you were back in your room snuggling the cat.
What were we talking about?
But Vi, there's one part of what Anima just said that sticks out to you like a giant red flag. Supposed to be. Not that she was there. They were supposed to be in crew's quarters.
Wait, Anima, you said supposed to be. That you and Dottie were supposed to be in the crew's quarters.
I did.
So you were somewhere else?
A good question.
Okay, maybe think about that while we're going through here.
My brain is Swiss cheese.
Look, this may help un-Swiss cheese it a bit. It's fine.
Well, I mean, things you know about Dottie is she was very enthusiastic about her work. I think Spectra speaks up and says, "Do you remember if there was supposed to be anyone else there, or was it just the two of you?"
We were waiting for someone to pick us up.
So it's probably on a down cycle where they let everyone take a rest, and perhaps you stayed a little later. So there wouldn't have been anyone in crew's quarters, but perhaps you were in another part of the ship. Another part of the station. For some reason. She continues slowly circling around, and that debris field starts to pass behind you. I'll say there are no other signs of major damage on the station. Just the area where the crew would have been has been blown to smithereens.
That's suspicious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll also say vibe with the 25 insight check. Doing something big like blowing up a crew quarters that was supposed to just have 2 people in it would be a really good way to have people not question why those 2 people disappeared.
Oh. Good point. It looks like it could have been a way to explain your disappearance. Why would they look for people that they thought died in an explosion?
That also begs the question of why did they feel the need to cover it up? Why did the 2 of them disappear? I love the looks of suspicion that I'm getting. I've been looking forward to this for so long.
I have a question. So just to make sure, it doesn't look like someone shot at the station and it blew up. It looks like the explosion came from inside the ship, right? Like it's bananaed out.
Roll investigation.
Could I also roll
That's
investigation?
not great, but alright. Yeah, I'll point it out. 6.
Okay, it's not terrible.
Is it better than mine? Hopefully.
Well, okay, Anima wins.
Ooh. Anima wins.
I got a 14. No, I got a 12. I got a 13.
Anima's brain is working today. Her
Yay!
higher reasoning not so much, but the brain's working. Thoughts are happening. Neurons are connecting. All my intelligence rolls have been really good, and my wisdom rolls have been shit.
Sometimes the dice want to tell a story, and this time the story they want to tell is you remember seeing it exploded outwards.
Okay.
Gosh.
Okay.
Anima, you specifically remember seeing it explode outwards, and you were far away. Did we blow it up?
Look, a little property damage for a good cause is not an issue.
Spectra keeps circling and starts to come back around to where the lab section is. And let's get another round of perceptions.
Okay. I almost hit persuasion.
Ooh,
that would not
really
have helped.
Not great.
Yes! Nat 20! 28!
I got a 5.
Stavias, you've been through a lot. You're trying your best. Your brain is still trying to recover and remember what's real and what's not. I think Tali's probably given you a couple of, like, little fidget things that can, like, help center and ground you on the fact that this is the present, because it's, like, they're, like, made with textures that they can't replicate in simulations, so you're just sitting there fidgeting with that, trying to stay present as you're being presented with this wild situation.
I'm using the Eldori version of a Rubik's Cube. And that's just kind of what I'm focusing on.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
I have a 21, by the way.
As you're passing by the lab area, you can kind of, like, see in through some of the windows, and you see signs that there might have been a bit of a fight. Not with a large group of people, but it looked like there was at least a small-scale struggle that happened in there, and there's just part of you that knows that this is... You need to see and know what happened there. Vi, with a net 20, you notice what looks like a series of little escape pods on the side. And one of them is missing.
Oh.
And you remember the first thing Anna remembers was waking up and stepping out of a pod.
Oh boy. I think Vi sort of glances at Anima for a second, trying to hopefully gauge her reaction, and then starts, okay, yeah, there's that small-scale skirmish, but look at the escape pods near it. There's only one missing, and from what you've told us, you stepped out of a pod. That was when your memories first came back, so you may have left or been forced to leave on that pod. I don't know if that's just a one-person pod or what, but that looks like that's where...
I saw it explode.
You said you were far away? Or was it, like, far away across the station, or...
You saw it explode from a distance.
From a distance, outside the ship.
Oh. Alright.
Are we getting any signs from the labs?
Reading that some of the systems are still working, but Nell is not picking up any signs of life, and she's got better scanners than most. Not perfect, but doesn't appear to be anyone in there.
Would Nell pick up something if they were in, like, a version of... I don't know if this is a real thing or not. In, like, cryo-sleep?
Nell is familiar, we're all familiar, well, not all of us. Nell would be able to recognize the energy draw necessary to keep cryostasis working actively.
Okay.
I see where the security and communication hub would be. It looks like it's mostly intact. Perhaps we drop you off near the lab and you see what you can learn from there while Tali and I go and take the communication room to see what we can find. Tali does the thing where she, like, cracks her knuckles. They can't keep anything from me. She's bouncing slightly.
Stavios looks up from the fidget and she's like, what? Are we doing something?
We're gonna look in the lab. They're gonna go to the security room.
Oh, cool.
Communications, whatever.
We have some equipment you can take with you just in case life support starts to fail in that room. And of course we will be available to contact if you need anything. Ty pipes up. Perhaps I can go with them in case they need any assistance. Lex and Nell can handle any combat situations should they arise. That's probably a good idea, yes. Tali and I can handle the communications. Are you all ready?
Yep.
Yeah.
You gather your things, including these breathing apparatuses that can effectively work as an emergency spacesuit should anything happen to the life support. You won't be very mobile in them, but you will be able to breathe, and no one will be able to find you. So that's the important part. And you know the crew is going to be nearby, so you're dropped off, you make your way into the airlock, and you enter the section that is the labs. And Anima, roll intelligence.
11.
As you're standing here getting your bearings, you remember bits of the last time you were here and why. You vaguely remember Dottie talking to you about, like, she had discovered something. She had found something that had her worried. And that was part of why she wanted to stay an extra day after people left, so she could go check it out to see if her suspicions were right. You don't remember exactly what it was. You just remember you had agreed to help her look into it.
We stayed an extra day.
Can I investigate the area?
Yeah. Roll investigation, in case if you want to continue what Anima's saying.
Dottie had a suspicion. I don't know if she told me what it was. We stayed to look into it.
I got a 21.
21 on investigation. What are you looking for?
I'm looking for any working tech that could have any kind of information on it. Especially any kind of relevant information, because I feel like anything's useful at this point, because we don't really know what's happening here.
I'll say, as you are looking around and you vaguely hear Anima say this, based on rolls, I feel like Stavios is not entirely here, which fits. Your mind keeps wandering off to trying to repeat the things that you know are real, and you go over to where one of the doors are and you see some of this technology seems to have shut itself down in the time that it's not been used, but you do see there's like a little console next to the door that you might be able to get some information on. It's basically where people would like sign in and sign out of the labs.
Okay, yeah, I try to look through that console.
Roll computers.
Oh, here we go. Oh, okay, that wasn't bad. Okay, that's a 18 plus 2 is 20.
You're able to get in. I'll say you probably have a couple of tricks up your sleeve for how to get around certain security things. And this security hasn't been updated in a while, so you're able to get past the couple of hurdles and get into. Are you going for like who all has been in and out of the lab, or who all has access? What are you looking for?
I think who all has been in and out of the lab, or if there was anything weird that happened. Like any kind of anomaly that maybe like in like a security check in the security system, just anything, just any names and any unexplainable bits or quote unquote recent things that would have been described or something in this computer system.
The most recent sign of someone checking into the lab wasn't Dottie. There was someone who checked in after, but you do see the name Dolataran Miaro, which is Dottie's full name. But there's a space where there should be a name after it, but it's like something has erased that name. Or like there was a supervisor override that cleared from showing the name. And as you scroll through, you see other names that, I'm just going to say you were kind of given the down low on what all Anima was able to remember. So you recognize the names from like some of the people she remembered Dottie working with. But you also see several other spots where it shows that someone went into the lab for a period of time to work on something, but that who they are is removed. Sometimes what they were working on has been removed entirely.
I share this information with Anima.
So Stavios waves you over and shows you this sign in, sign out, with the occasional missing names and sometimes entirely missing information. Vi, do you want to try hacking?
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I have anything that would help.
With the data lock code breaker, or is that just for, like, hacking open doors?
Well, I think, let's see, I was looking at infiltration tools. Okay, it says infiltration tools are designed for picking locks and foiling traps. But it does mention security code crackers, card readers and emulators, data lock code breakers, so I could try.
Yeah. Give me the roll.
Alright, 21.
Okay, 21. What are you looking for?
I mean, I do want to see the sign out, sign in, just anywhere. I guess I'm also trying to look for, like, any weak points, see if there's anything that I can, like, maybe at least pass along to Tally or Spectra, be like, this is where, I don't have the ability to punch through this, but this is where things are weird, and this is where, hopefully, if you get that information, we'll be able to figure it out, because I'm not sure what else to look for, so.
As you are digging through, I'll say you find a list of everyone who has worked here. It also appears that some of the data has been altered and names have been removed, but there might have been some details left behind, or you find where there might be a way to, like, get access to previous versions of what the list looked like.
Yeah.
You don't know how difficult it would be because you're not familiar with this rather out-of-date security system. Also, just some of the security system feels like it's set up weird. I mean, you're still getting used to how security works in Alliance space, but even for that, it feels like it might be a mix or hodgepodge of a couple of different kinds of programs added together.
Okay. I'll definitely also send that information on to Tally and Spectra.
That's a familiar description.
Hodgepodge of things. Oh no. Yeah, I was like, wait a minute.
You just get 2 thumbs up from Tally.
Okay.
Different computer programs shoved together.
Yeah, that's concerning. Yeah, I'll also bring that to Tally. Hey, this is sort of bringing up, memories of the... and sort of glances at Stavios, the program Stavios was in. Have you gotten any sort of similarities yet, or is this just another case of...
Okay, I'm gonna pass this off to Nell, and she'll start looking for similarities, because if this is the same asshole, they'll be more trackable if we can find a connection to them in this space station. They're just a little smiley, a really big smiley face emoji. Part of you pities the fool, the other part of you wants to watch what Tully does to him and just eat popcorn.
Oh yeah, no, Vi has no pity for this person. I guess unless they were blackmailed or something, but otherwise no. No pity.
We're in the lab, right?
So the way I see it is there's a room you have to go through before you get into the lab. You're in the part of the station that has life support, but you're in kind of like more of a waiting area where there might be like decontamination chambers, except for you don't see any signs of that, so whatever was being worked on here was not biological related. But you imagine there still would have been some level of security scans, but it's been several years. If it's still working, the security system is very out of date. You also know Tally and Spectra are in the security room in the communications hub.
I would like to try and see if I can remember my security code. Because I had to have one.
Roll intelligence. I'll let you have it with advantage because you are in the place where you would have used it most often. That didn't help a whole lot.
No. And in fact, it did not help at all. So 13.
I'll say with the 13, it takes you a couple of tries, but you are able to remember the correct security code to get through the door.
It still works, though.
Yeah, it does still work, at least that part of it.
Onwards.
Tally ho.
Into the lab.
Okay, I think Vi's gonna stealth, at least at first, because this is where life support was. And so, like, this is, to at least her, there's a reason why this was the part of the ship that was kept powered on longest. So she's gonna stealth at least at first.
I am going to follow her lead, because I'm also very suspicious of the area that we are currently in.
That's fair. Anima, are you stealthing, or...
No, I
do you
just
approach?
used a security code that was tied to my identity already, so no.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair.
I'm not gonna do that. Feels silly.
I got a 3.
Come
Cool.
on. Alright, dirty 20. 11 plus 9.
So, Vi, you have no issues. I'll say as Stavios trips through one door, you just sneak around and go in the other door.
Yeah.
There's 2 doors that lead to this area.
But it's just like, I'll deal with it if it needs to be.
And then I scream, "Oh no!" And then I'm like, "My Rubik's Cube!" And then I drop, because I dropped my Rubik's Cube when I tripped and I had to pick it up. Oh, sorry.
So Vi is still being mostly pretty sneaky. Anima doesn't care. Stavios has forgotten how to be sneaky, if they ever do. And you step into this wide open area, and you can more clearly see the signs where there was a fight. So I guess give me another round of perception checks or investigation.
Okay.
Okay, that's
My
not
perception's
that
better.
great.
Ooh, 10. 10 for perception for Vi.
Natural 1.
9. The second we leave that lab, it's out. We're done.
Yeah.
And so as you step into the area, Vi and Stavios, you're trying to piece together what happened here. And you can't tell much more than there was a fight, but you do see there's another exit where there's the airlock. The internal door is closed, but it looks like the airlock door is blown open. So something could have gotten out that way. You see something like it was blown open from the inside as well. And Anima, the only thing that you can focus on is you see the escape pods. It's the exact same one you stepped out of, and that's the only thing that you can think about is focusing on that. You stepped into one of those, and something bad happened. But you can't remember what.
I'm going to them.
I'm really loving the ambiance. It's feeling very spooky. It's feeling very almost alien-esque. And it reminded me a lot of Alien Isolation.
So, Vi and Stavios, what do you do as you see Anima walking straight for the pods?
Hey, don't! Come back!
No, stop.
I think
Come
Vi...
back. Help,
Oh,
police,
um,
fire.
I'm trying to figure out, does it look like anything's active around there, or is it just a fight and then the escape pods?
Even with the low perception check, you don't see any movement. Doesn't look like there's anything active. There might be like a light that's flickering, but I'll allow with your passive perception. Your instincts tell you that you are alone in this space. Your eyes have not picked up much beyond there was a fight here and to think things got weird. I'm not really sure, but you do know at the moment you are alone in this space.
Okay, I was gonna say, I do have some dark vision as well. But okay, so I think I'll come out of stealth and sort of, like, Anima, I know this is important to have, to look into this, but you cannot forget that we have to make, like, don't risk your own safety for this. We need to make sure everything's safe, and then we can investigate the hell out of this. Okay?
I'm looking in it. I'm looking in them. I'm looking in the pods.
You're in one? Oh, for fuck's sake.
I'm looking.
Anima?
I poke my head
Out.
in one.
No! Anima!
I try to grab Anima and pull Anima away.
Yeah, it's like,
So,
and like Vi's like right next to her at this point. I will charm you away from this if need be. Come on.
So, Anima, as you step into this pod, ignoring your friend's advice, can you give me a wisdom saving throw?
Oh no, Anima's
Oh,
not
God.
wise.
I'm not. 14.
Oh, 14. Okay.
14.
Better than expected.
That's not bad. This might not hit you that hard. Because
Oh.
as you step into the pod, you start to remember what happened. And we're going to pick it up there next session.
Ah! I knew it!
Aboard the Opal Star is an Esper Genesis 5e actual play podcast DM'd and produced by Brianna Toiber as part of Pseudonym Social, a creative podcast network.
I'm Casey, and I'm playing Anima the Ashen Forged.
Victor, and I'm playing Farida the Promethean.
My name's Alexis, and I am playing Vilena Sorrell, the Eldori.
Music is by Patrick Chester of Chester Studios. To see more of his work, visit his website at chesterstudios.net. Find out more about Pseudonym Social by visiting our website at pseudonymsocial.wordpress.com. If you like what we're doing and would like to support us, please consider leaving a review or donating to our Patreon at patreon.com/pseudonymsocial.